We'll see you in about an hour's time. I'm now joined by the legend. You love this? It's like we're in a NASCAR pit here. I'm getting my microphone put on as we go. I'm joined by John Kentera. Coach, welcome back to KUSI's Airwaves. Long time no chat.
Oh, great to be here, Paul. Thanks. And what a beautiful setting this afternoon.
It sure is. We're going to enjoy some modern Mexican cuisine in just a bit. But first, we might as well start with the Lakers. Are we going to ever witness the glory days of the 80s and 2000s again, or is that ship passed? No. Or do you think the Lakers haven't come back?
Oh, I was very encouraged by what I saw in the Lakers this year. I mean, Kyle Kuzma, he's going to get some Rookie of the Year votes. Lonzo Ball kind of was in and out of the lineup with injuries. Josh Hart. They've got a lot of good young players, and I think they're headed in the right direction.
So what's going to happen this offseason? Are we going to see King James in L.A.?
Well, it's a possibility, or a Paul George, and who knows? Maybe down the road, Kawhi Leonard. You never know.
Yeah. All right. Well, but more importantly, let's talk about the Padres. Obviously, you're headed to the ball yard tonight. Last night, I mean, it happens to every hitter, right? You have an at-bat you wish you could take back. Hunter Renfroe, bases loaded, 1 out, and I think it was the bottom of the 10th. Could have won the game with a pop-up. Instead, he had a bad at-bat.
Well, he lined out to the catcher. And unfortunately, the Padres lined out 20 times last night, which tied a franchise record. But, Hunter obviously has got to cut down on his strikeouts, but the ball club has to cut down on the strikeouts. In fact, Major League Baseball needs to cut down on their strikeouts right now.
We'll get to that in a second, but just quickly, your observations, Padres this far in, is it what you expected? Is it worse, better? How would you classify?
It's about what I expected, because I figured they were going to struggle in their starting pitching, and that's been a problem. Their bullpen's been great. The problem right now is the bullpen's being overworked, and you're going to have guys go down on the disabled list. Will Myers, hopefully, is going to be back soon. Manuel Margot will be back, and then they're going to have some roster decisions to be made. But overall, it's about what I expected. They played some very competitive ball games. They've lost some tough ones. They've won a couple of good ones. But this team, they continue to play hard for their manager.
The schedule's going to get easier too. But we'll talk about baseball's got a problem. Have you noticed there's a lot of empty seats whenever you turn a game on?
Well, if you want to sit in 27 degrees.
All right, so is there a weather thing, or do you think does the game have a structural issue?
Well, I think there is a little bit of a structural issue. First of all, they've started the season a week and a half earlier than they have in the past. Going into today, 26 postponements are already. That's not good. And let's face it, baseball in San Diego or anywhere else, once the kids get out of school, that's when the families really start coming out, because the games are still too long, Paul. I mean, seriously.
Those pictures right there are hard to look at, right?
Well, if I was growing up now and I was coming to a Padre game, I may never, ever see Brad Hand, because he doesn't come into a ball game until after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, in the old days, they used to start games at 7 o'clock, and you're in your car on your way home by 9:15, 9:20, and you're in bed by 10 o'clock.
And I think that, I know they're trying to address it, but last night was a different case, extra innings, but still, you can't have 4-hour ball games.
No, you really can't. And baseball's trying, but again, you've got a lot of hitters that are working the count, the new sabermetrics. You got to take as many pitches as you can, but they got some problems. And the biggest problem I see right now, there's not enough action in Major League Baseball games. When you got teams striking out 10 to 12 times on each side each and every night, there are not enough balls in play, and people are getting a little bit bored.
All right, fair enough. Let's switch gears and talk about the pointy ball. We had Pisa Samoa in along with Brett Swain. Those two guys are combining on a venture, a 7-on-7 league for younger kids pre-high school. But of course, the topic of football safety came up. I want you to listen to this soundbite, and we'll get your reaction.
Yeah, and we learned a lot over the years. When I grew up, when we played the game back in the days, we learned how to go without water for a long period of time. We learned how not to complain and things like that. But we understand now that, hey, water will help you perform better and things like that.
I think it's a serious conversation that we need to have. I think that there's arguments on both sides that really have great points. But I think what we don't have is answers.
How much trouble is the sport in?
Well, I think right now it's getting hit from a lot of different directions, and obviously nationally, kids at the youth level, the percentages are dropping. There's so many other things. Lacrosse, even in our area here in San Diego, that's picking up. I think with what the state is talking about doing, abolishing, basically Pop Warner until kids become freshmen in high school, that's a problem. And I got a problem with that myself, Paul, from the simple standpoint. I think a family should make that decision whether or not a kid plays or not. But again, you got a lot of coaches that, I don't know where they played. I mean, there are a lot of things to learn in football.
Well, let's address this stat. Boston College study. Over 70% of kids quit organized sports by the age of 13, with girls quitting at a rate 6 times greater than boys. If that study is true, what does it say about today's generation of athletes?
Well, I'll tell you, to answer that question, I'm going to be here until after Mark Mathis's weather report tonight at 11 o'clock. But to answer it real quickly, I think kids are starting at a lot younger age. They're not just community sports, they're travel sports. And for 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old kids, to go on a Saturday from San Diego to Orange County, 6 or 7 times during the season, that takes up all your family time. It wears you out. You don't develop friendships. There's a host of problems. We should have a round table on that some night.
All right, we'll have you back. We'll promise you'll come back. We'll make it that just the theme. Quick answers now. Chargers draft coming up. Do they draft a quarterback?
If one's available after the first round.
Gronk the human has an investment now in Gronk the Derby horse that's going to run at the Kentucky Derby. Who's going to have a better year, Gronk the person or Gronk the horse?
Well, we don't know if Gronk the person is going to play, so I'm going with Gronk the horse.
All right, we're out of time. Coach, I know you have to get to the ball yard. We can't let another 2 years go by. Let's do this again.
Hey.
All right, Coach John Kentera, big thank you to him. We're going to wrap up the 5 o'clock news hour right now. But you know what the good thing about the 5 o'clock news hour? When it's over, the 6 o'clock news hour is coming around the bend. Stay with us right here on The Barge. Here at Kentera.